What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you are doing well and taking care of yourselves. So today we are back. We are doing another video podcast. We're going to show you and talk to you a little bit about a shape-shifting UFO that's actually caught on camera. It's really interesting, really very unique. It almost looks multi-dimensional, so I'm really excited to show it to you guys and talk about it. And it really opens my mind, just to preface this, it really opens my mind to the idea of multi-dimensional beings, portals, craft that can do things that our, Newtonian physics brains can't think of yet. And the potential for different crafts coming to our planet from other planets other than what we already know. That's kind of the thing that we don't really think about too often, is that we're pretty familiar with these, top 5 alien species that come, but then there's these really bizarre things that happen in our skies too, that are unexplainable. Even dating back to the painting, and I think it was like 1518 Germany, I want to say, the War in the Skies that happened, and that painting just has amazing pictures of, Nuremberg, 1561. Sorry, I was close, 1561. The Nuremberg Sky Battle in 1561, Hans Glaser documented a strange event on a woodcut for the German Nuremberg Gazette, described as hundreds of crosses, globes, and tubes fighting each other above the city, and some of the objects were reported to have disappeared into the sun, and then others looked like a thick cloud of smoke after crashing into the ground. Many were said to witness the entire spectacle, along with the appearance of a black spear-like object. According to accounts, not only did the people of the 16th century see this, but also others as well. So, here, take a look at this picture. If you haven't seen this, take a look at this. Look at this. This is pretty awesome right here. So you have this black spear-like object, which could be like our black triangle craft. We have rod-like UFOs that we've seen. These balls in the sky, they could have been other ships, they could have been weapons, who knows. But even the sun has spots all over. It's kind of interesting. But it's something to think about. Now, this next video that we're going to show you comes to us from Yasmin Joyner. She's a UFO documenter. It's on the show UFO Witness, which is one of my new favorite shows. Okay, so I talk a lot about UFO hunters. That was my all-time favorite show back in from 2008 to 2010. Long time ago now, I realize that, but it was an awesome show, and it hasn't had a parallel show like it since until 2021. And this guy, Ben Hansen, who's a former FBI agent, is hosting this show from 2021 till present. There's no end date to it yet, so hopefully we'll have some more episodes. There's only two seasons, but this second season that I've been taking a look at has been really interesting. They've got a lot of great witnesses in here, so we're going to talk a lot about that. Show you a couple clips here. So Yasmin Joyner is a documenter, a UFO witness, and a UFO contactee. She's has a brilliant mind, and she captured these UFO on film. So this is the Shapeshifter UFO I'm going to show you that she captured, and I'll let you hear a little bit about what she has to say in this interview as well. So here, let's take a look at it real quick and see what you think, okay?
Here.
Take a look at this.
Wow.
Look at that.
Here you go, look. Dude. Come here, come here.
See that?
Yo, what the, what?
I'm going to pause it there. Look at this thing. Looks like it has little balls of energy dripping off of it. It looks circular. She stated that it kind of went conical, and then it had like a triangle type shape to it, and then it had a full swirl, and then it went out of their vision. It's stuff like this that really impresses me and really makes me think, wow, this is a real phenomenon. This is something people are seeing. This is something that people are interacting with, and it's interacting with us too, which is really cool. So let's take a look at the rest of it here real quick.
I always just keep my camera handy, and I just happen to look and see it over the tree line and realize, like, I don't think that has wings.
Look at that. I mean, and the cool thing is it's not a comet. It's not falling to the ground. I've seen UFO craft on video before. I mean, they look like discs. They look like, ships. This looks like it's a portal. But the weird thing is it didn't stay steady in one area like it's opening up for a ship to come through or something like that. This thing was like moving through the sky. So it was almost like it was like its own entity. And I don't know what to make of it other than to think it's like multidimensional. But we'll listen to a couple of extra seconds here of what she has to say.
It was amorphous, and it was just sitting in one spot in the sky for several minutes. And I was like, it's not normal.
Look at that.
As the shimmering object hung in the sky, it slowly changed from a cylinder to a circle, and then back again.
As soon as it started to move, I walked down the hill, and after I did that, this thing stretched into like an hourglass shape in a millisecond, and then it spun around really fast. So this is literally what it sounded like. It went, and then it locked back up. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I can't do that, but all right. Then it just took off. It left, kind of past LAX.
So that's like really, really cool, because I totally believe her. I love when we can get, witnesses that are totally believable and not, it doesn't seem like they're doing it for any type of credit. So following that up, we can take a look at a couple of other shapeshifter-like craft. So let's pull this up here. So from here, Ben's really trying to find out, is there anything else out there? Is there anything else that's doing any shape-shifting? Well, he actually has a contact, a Marine that was a pilot, so a Marine pilot that had some contact with a shape-shifting-like very bizarre UFO in its own right. So his name's Steve Murillo, and he has a picture of something that he saw and something that another pilot saw as well. So let's take a look at this real quick. I just want you to see it. So this is what it looks like. It looks like almost like a bug, but they have this outline here, and it has these tips that are coming out here, and they say, it looks metallic from the photo. But here, let's listen to them for a second here.
Photo might look that to the eye, but I don't know. Here's the next one. Same object. Okay.
It almost looks completely different. It's like a...
So did you see that? It went from being like a bug-like craft to a completely silver disc.
metallic. I mean, it's highly reflective.
Yep. And then it's got these two little ear things here, so that might be the things we saw in the other photo.
Okay, so I see what he's doing. So I wonder if it was just hovering away from the sun and it wasn't reflective, or they put some sort of reflection back onto themselves, or took the reflectivity off. Sometimes they have this technology where they can basically make themselves invisible, and sometimes the technology works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they take it off and we're able to see them. But these two wings right here are very interesting, and then it has kind of like this little pokey part back here. Just show it to you again, this little pokey part back here, and these two winged areas, one wing on one side and one on the other. I'm sure it's not for the same type of purpose that we have our wings, but it is a wing. And we've heard stories of these manta-like craft that do kind of do some shape-shifting. Sometimes they'll pop out some wings, and sometimes they'll go circular, sometimes they'll go amorphous, and sometimes they'll even spin into like a galaxy-type circle before exiting the atmosphere. Now, this was taken in 2014. So it's kind of interesting. I just want to take a look and see if he shows us anything else real quick.
Okay, now here's the third photo. Same object, but now you see it's sort of amorphous, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yet another shapeshifter in our skies.
See, so that's interesting. There's yet another part of it to where it's just inexplicable. We don't know why it's doing these strange maneuvers, but it's doing it. So, in regards to these amazing shape-shifting craft, we have another eyewitness that talks about his time back in 1970s, where he was a ambulance driver, and during his time being an ambulance driver for the military, actually, he was stopped at a military street stop, like a barricaded stop, and it was near a missile silo. And they were called there, and the military basically told them to pull off to the side of the road and stop and just wait for their instructions. So one of the guys, there's two of them. The driver was more impulsive. He's like, "Well, we got called out here for a reason. We want to check it out." So he gets out and he starts walking towards where all the hubbub is going about, right? And so, of course, Terry's got to get out of his car and see what's going on. Well, they see a craft that's 50 feet above the missile silo where they're at. Now, we know that craft go by missile silos, don't we? Because they love messing with our nukes. So check out this little part of the story. I want you to listen to it and see the craft, because it's very similar to the other craft that they had earlier in this show.
That troubled Terry most.
Suspended over this missile silo, about 50 feet in the air, is a black object.
Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Did you see that thing? Did you see that thing? Hold up. I got to play it back here.
Suspended over this missile silo, about 50 feet in the air, is a black object.
Boom. Look at this thing. Look at the edges. Look at the shape. It's not your standard V-shaped craft. This thing is very bizarre. It has angles, but it was, let's listen to what he has to say.
And it was enormous. Black matte, non-reflective, no insignia, no rivets, no windows.
1976.
No nothing. And it was enormous. I did a drawing of it contemporaneous with the event.
Could you draw it now?
Sure, I could draw it now.
I'm sure it's ingrained in your memory.
It is, and in my nightmares.
So when you have these crafts that multiple witnesses have seen that are very similar, decades apart, it makes you wonder what the hell is going on. Like these craft have been visiting us for decades, centuries, who knows how long, right? And what he's drawn here is really just kind of like what we saw in the picture or in the on the video. But he stated it was massive and kind of like kind of narrowed down towards the sides. Somewhat similar to Murillo's, but not really. This thing was a whole lot different, made no sound, and then they had Geiger counters out there. They were picking up radiation, and the rest of the crew are just kind of like looking at this thing dead silent, and this thing just sits there for a little bit, and then it just rises up, and it spins into a circle. It becomes a circle from that angular object that we saw. It spins into a circle and then disappears. So Terry and his partner in the ambulance say, they make a pact to each other. They say, we are never going to talk about this experience again to anyone, because that'll be the end of our military career. We'll be done. We'll have no career. And these guys are military guys. They didn't want that. They wanted to have a career. So for the next 46 years, he continues to get visited by this UFO. He continues to have encounters with these beings. Now, what's crazy is he goes on a camping trip down in Arkansas, okay? There's not a whole lot to do. So he goes, in the 70s, right? We didn't have tablets. We didn't have phones. We didn't have the internet. So you go out and you enjoy nature. So in 1977, he goes to West Fork, Arkansas, goes for a camping trip with his buddy. Well, this camping trip will turn out to be not so relaxing, okay? So they have a huge white light that comes down, an aircraft comes down straight out of the sky. A laser comes out of this ship, okay? There's a light source that comes down out of the ship, and then a laser hits him multiple times and basically knocks him out unconscious. Guy goes out, he wakes up hours later. This is Terry again, same guy, and he's covered in burns, and they take him to the nearest hospital, and they say, it's basically, like radiation burns, and he gets treated, of course. But what's interesting is that a government agent comes in while he's getting treated, while there's people around. He bends down, he whispers in his ear, and he says, "We know what you've seen. We know what you've seen, and you know what you've seen." And they said, "Son, just know that we know what you know. And you stumbled onto something out there that you shouldn't have." And that was basically it. And they rolled out. It was a guy with a badge, but you couldn't really see it. He was totally getting, burned by these burns and, not feeling it. But what's crazy about this is that he continues to get visited, and 35 years later, he gets visited by a blue alien. Blue alien. This is interesting. So 35 years later, he wakes up with a blinding headache, a nosebleed, and a huge excruciating pain in his right knee. So excruciating that he goes to the ER and gets checked out. They do an x-ray on his knee. They find out that he's got a chip in his knee. Not a chocolate chip, not a rock chip, not even a Rocky Road chip. Okay? We're talking about an actual chip that is undeniable. It's an alien implant. So he goes to many people, many doctors, asking them to remove this chip. They won't remove it. They're afraid of what it is. They don't know what it is. So they won't do it. So all this time later, this old man, this poor guy, right, has this like chip-like thing that's attached to fibers or wires, what it looks like, in his knee. So interesting, right? He wakes up with a nosebleed, he wakes up with excruciating headache, and then excruciating pain in his knee. Inexplicable. So he's sitting here getting interviewed by Ben and Melissa, and he's like, "Yeah, it's still in my freaking knee. I want to get it taken out ASAP, but nobody will do it for me." So, they're like, "Wow, okay, this is interesting. Let's, see what's what." And they talk to other people who have had implants. They talk to Daryl Sims. They talk to a couple other people. And there's so many people that have implants. It's unbelievable. But what they do is they do a radio frequency test in the room while Terry's there. And when they do this frequency test, they're getting some crazy readings just while being in the room. They turn everything off, all of their electronics, their recording devices for the show, everything. And they're getting all these crazy readings. And it's unusually high. So they know something's going on with his knee. They know something's going on with the abnormal levels of radio waves coming right off of him. So they know something's going on. What it is, we don't know. Why would your knee be giving off radio waves? Doesn't make any sense. Unless it's transmitting something. It's an actual transmitter. It's transmitting. That's what transmitting means. It means to give off radio waves. So it's actually giving off information to whoever put it in there. And he's experienced these shape-shifting craft. And so he even talks about getting visited by these blue aliens years later. They happen to be blue. They happen to be Arcturian, is what later we find out. They come from the Arcturian area of the galaxy or whatever. They're not their own galaxy, sorry, and they're highly intelligent, highly motivated to find out information about us. But it doesn't seem as though they're so interested in giving us any beneficial technology. So, very fascinating stuff. It's not, there's a lot, I'm going to go over a couple different witnesses who talk about their experiences with insectoids. So I will cover that as well. My battery is dying, so I apologize. I'm going to close this out before it dies on me. But yeah, we'll cover some of these insectoids that are unlike anything you've ever seen before. The photographs of the pictures that people have had drawn for them are unbelievable. The stories they have are unbelievable, and we're going to get into some different stories from different witnesses, unlike anything we've heard of. So stay tuned. I highly encourage you to listen to the next couple podcasts. We're gonna be showing you guys some stuff and talking about some stuff that you've never heard of before, including these shape-shifting craft. Why would these craft need to shape-shift? Is it because they're going into another dimension? In wrapping this up here, are they going into another dimension like those Miami aliens had to do? They were coming out of one dimension, going into another. Was that first image that we showed you from the lady in California, the very shiny video, those you just don't see that anymore. You just don't see it anywhere. Was that a dimension opening? Was it a portal opening? Was it an entity? Was it an angel? What the heck was it? So we're gonna take a look a little bit deeper. We're gonna pull out some more witnesses. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more and see if there's any explanation for why this might be happening, why it might be happening, now and back in the 70s, back with Terry. Poor guy just trying to make it in a military career and, gets abducted and implanted and everything else. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys take care of yourselves. Stay positive. Stay on the bright side of the light. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. Take care of your physical health, your spiritual health, your emotional health. If you haven't gone out for a while, go out and get a little bit of fresh air. Do something you haven't done in a while. Go for a walk, go for a hike, go somewhere you enjoy. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care. Lockdown Universe out. Peace.